Amazing Grace, big part of my story. And thank you for listening to it, my spiritual story. I've had spiritual habits for much of my life, but my mind is jumpy, doesn't do a good job of getting out of itself. I think it's true that God and I have never really met during these sessions. I've been a lost sheep, but God, through the Holy Spirit, has come to me and made me close to Him and a more complete human being. So here goes. 40 years ago, I lived in Jacksonville, Florida. I was 37 years old, a husband, and a father of 2 children, and a member of, yes, St. Paul's Church. 2 years later, I had joined Northwestern Mutual as an insurance agent, a profession where your pay is 100% related to your sales. I trained well, learned my scripts, and despite my fear of failure, made $1 Million Roundtable my first year. I headed north to New York City to attend MDRT meetings. Among the presenters was a speaker who showed a picture of his yacht and described insurance's role in estate planning. These meetings triggered my fear of failure. I came home convinced I was not smart enough for this business, and with a feeling that somehow I just didn't fit in. My business and confidence slid. After 2 years of living on credit cards, I finally succumbed to the knowledge that I needed God. I sensed that my fall was caused by my exclusive ties to the world's values of sales, professional recognition, and yes, the stress of supporting my family. I started going to Wednesday luncheons at the First Baptist Church of Jacksonville with Betty Saunders in my office. On one Wednesday, Dr. Jerry Vines told the story of an impulsive Peter who asked Jesus if he could walk to him on the stormy waters of the Sea of Galilee. Peter stepped out of the rolling boat, took several successful steps, then he saw the waves, became afraid, and began to sink. He called to Jesus to help him. Dr. Vines is talking directly to me. He said, today, many were like Peter, caught in the world and without God. And when they saw the waves, like Peter, they had hit bottom and were ready to be saved. I knew that, and I am paraphrasing today's lesson. The Spirit of God had come to me and would guide me and tell me what would come. I walked back to my office knowing that I must be ready for it. Next Monday, a critical day in the insurance world, was when I got on the phone to complete my calendar of appointments. Instead, the opposite happened. Folks called to cancel. I was unemployed. It was time. I drove to St. Paul's. Father Bob Bass was not there. Phew. Where St. Paul's driveway meets Atlantic Boulevard, our cars met. Father Bob asked, "Why are you here?" "I don't know why I am. I'm supposed to be at Baptist Hospital." We sat in his office, talked about my career. I was impatient. I know you want me to pray, but I must do this, he said. Finally, we were in the chapel. A parishioner had donated a kneeler, rail, altar, and cross just last week. I was its first customer. Father Bob put his hands on my head and began to pray. It felt as if my shirt buttons had burst and poisonous gases had rushed from my chest. The Holy Spirit had replaced them with God's love. I was cleansed. I was on a mountaintop. I didn't stay on the mountaintop. I continued my business with confidence and experienced its normal peaks and valleys. Clients became good friends. I did dad things and enjoyed sinning and friends. I joined a Bible group. Today's lesson from Paul describes my spiritual attitude at this time. Suffering produces endurance, and endurance, character, and character, hope. I believe faith was the source of my salvation, and it still is. I worked hard on faith. Faith focused on my own soul. I am ever grateful for the faith in God I gained and which was sustained by my friends in the South. It was not until I came to our St. Paul's that I gradually learned also to live by Jesus' commandment that you love one another just as I have loved you. And that Christian living was more than just my own salvation. I learned this in EFM through readings and friends. However, I had to be ready for the EFM experience by the work of the Holy Spirit. I moved north, overloaded with self-absorption, and needed a dose of God's discipline. My first summer in New Hampshire, I set out with a friend from Jacksonville, Phil, on what was to be a 10-day journey on the Appalachian Trail. Phil was younger and faster, and after half a day we separated. As I said, I was prideful and overestimated my readiness for this trip. Each of 3 days, I was given an experience of enforced humility. The first day was acute dehydration and walking till midnight. The second day, I was caught in a deluge of rain just as I was setting up camp. Having made the rookie mistake of packing my tent in the bottom of my pack, I was forced to have all of its contents drenched as I took them out and set them on the soaking ground while I dug out my tent. That night, I couldn't cook, and protein bars wouldn't go down. The third day, I wasn't right. I forgot to eat breakfast. And having struggled the whole day, eating nothing but blueberries, I reached the shelter site, but all I could see was a sign saying, Riley Campsite, 12 miles. I sat down and stared at it, confused. A young couple crossed my path, but quickly the man came back. He said, my wife and I don't believe that you are quite with me. I mumbled something. Then he asked the question, can I carry your pack down to the lean-to? I struggled with my pride, and then I said the words I would not have said before. Yes, please. I lay shivering in my sleeping bag. They gave me hot soup and protein drink. They dried all my clothes around the fire. Micah and Jen surrendered themselves to my care. I had surrendered myself to their care. Through this couple, the Holy Spirit taught me that to be a fully living Christian, I must be humble and accept my vulnerability. In 2013, the Holy Spirit awoke me on a walk up Musala, where suddenly my mind was flooded with thoughts of a recent article on refugees in Concord. What a trial. Come to this huge country with no English, no understanding of American customs. The next Monday I was at Lutheran Social Services. On Wednesday, I was in the apartment of 4 young refugee sisters. The interpreter asked, "What do you want Terry to do for you?" They replied, "Teach us English and get us jobs." They called me teacher. I was honored. After much time, several resolved crises, and getting to know sinning, they called me Terry. I had learned from my experience with Micah and Jen. I had learned the humility of giving and receiving. The oldest sister has become an American citizen. The youngest is studying at Job Corps. The middle 2 work and study English. Mike and Pam LaFawn will agree that you will not find a kinder and more genuine women. I enjoy frequent suppers at the sisters' home after our tutoring sessions. Our 2 families exchange dinners at holidays, and we enjoy day trips throughout New Hampshire. In short, by God's grace, we have merged into one African American family. Based on our relationship, I have become involved in a local organization by coordinating assistance for African refugees. Volunteers drive new Americans to doctors and agencies, or they join a family by reading mail, teaching English, and doing whatever comes up. St. Paul's people are pioneers in this organization, and it pleases me that the UU Church will be joining us with a large group who will be working with several families who have particular needs. Should any of you wish the challenge and reward of working with people of different culture, but with shared values of acceptance and love, please consider joining the ministry at St. Paul's. See Joanne Goot, Mike McKinney, or me, or Kate. Now, for the past 4 years, I have been in and out of severe nerve pain in my mouth, which also affects my ability to speak and eat. Since it began, I've been to each of St. Paul's healing services. At the last service, I was moved not to ask to be healed, but as Drew was preparing to place the oil on my forehead, I asked to be taught to understand my illness. What I think I was asking for was the Spirit to help me live as well as I can in the pain times. We were working on that. So I was 37 when the Holy Spirit first spoke to me. He knew that while I went to church, I was separated from God. Because I was in a vulnerable stage and my confidence was plummeting, he spoke to me in no uncertain terms. For the next 22 years, I lived by practicing faith and the knowledge of my own salvation. It wasn't until I came north to St. Paul's that I learned the blessings of relating to people the way Jesus taught us to. However, it took a walk in the woods for the Holy Spirit to teach me the humility that has allowed me the valuable relationships I have recently enjoyed. He knew I was an unfinished work, and we stayed together, and I grew. At age 77, he and I are working on the next step, learning to understand and handle discomfort with grace. Amen.